Yo, what up, Pam? We're joined here by my good friend Ed from really, I think I met you more than I meet a lot of people. But my good friend Ed Kim out here in LA. Let's go ahead and talk shop, man, because I think the overall product management community right now needs a huge morale boost in terms of everybody's feeling a little bit low, but how you doing? I saw that you just ran the marathon.
Yeah. Hey, Rich. Yeah, so thanks for having me. Obviously, it's been good. Yeah. Yeah, just ran the LA Marathon yesterday, so just resting my legs today, but not too shabby right now.
Got it, got it. So, you've done this job hunt with us a few times. It's never been it's never fun. It's a good it's always a learning experience that people actually just don't want to have again. Um, with that said, like I usually in my testimonial videos, we cover how many interviews and how many offers we're able to go out there and deliver for people, but I think like for this one, I really want to talk to you about what your overall like experience was in I think offer negotiate like interview negotiation, offer negotiation.
Yeah.
What are some of your takeaways from that? And honestly, if you feel like you can like apply those skills in like different domains too. So,
Yeah.
by all means, man, because there's a lot of product manager jobs right now that are advertised at a very low rate. Obviously, it feels a little bit discouraging. It's hard to not feel that way, but talk to me about some of your experiences in that domain.
Yeah, definitely. So I think going back to what you said about just product management, the landscape, and recruiting in general right now. So obviously, I've been working with Elevate for quite some time. And yeah, the landscape has changed since I've recruited since in the last couple of years. And I think, yeah, this time around, when I was recruiting, I came across an opportunity to work with a startup, right? And it always goes back to first principles with like what Product Gym and Elevate really taught me was, really trying to solve their problem, right? And luckily, within my experience in product management, I had the opportunity to work at Zillow within prop tech, on their data team and working with some AI products. And with everything in AI shifting within product management, I had an opportunity with this startup to to work on an AI product and within the interview process, really honed in on that skill set of solving the problem that they needed, especially in the phase and the stage that the company was in. And so this time around, really honing in on that, it was just so much of a different conversation and so much of a different process. And so when it came to like salary negotiations and everything, to be honest, like it was actually for a role like that was pretty not in my salary range. But when it came to negotiation, I think um, I became the standout candidate in this process with the compared to the other candidates. And in addition to that, because I was, solving the problem that they're actually looking to solve, looking for at that moment, I was such a strong candidate that they were willing to meet my salary standards and go above what they were actually offering within their own salary cap for what was posted in the job posting. Yeah.
100%. How did you make that happen?
So I think, yeah, to be honest, I mean, it really comes down to confidence. I think this time around, I was just a lot more confident in, I think, the, I guess, my capabilities of solving the problems that the company was looking for, right? And also, um, I think in the salary that I was looking for, I was just a lot more confident in giving out the number, right? And so, yeah, I think it was a lot like around like 20 to 30% higher than what was being offered. But I really stood my ground on what my salary cap was, right? And so when it came to that negotiation, when they were asking me what I was looking for, I stood firm instead of trying to figure out, what worked best for them because I knew what worked best for them. But they wanted to figure out what worked best for me, and I didn't budge on that this time around.
I mean, did you just like stand aggressively, or like did you like all
Well, yeah, and so I mean, I think it really goes down to the interview process. Is because I just ended up doing really well in the interview process and being that standout candidate. One, once again, like being the standout candidate really gives you that confidence, and really trickles into the negotiation part because the company will do whatever it takes, to work with you, right? And
right?
so I really felt that this time around.
I mean, I think overall, and when did like the set? Well, so who did you
Oh,
go out there and talk to get what it is that you wanted?
yeah, so it was directly with, the recruiting team as well as this, the CEO, of the company because it was a startup.
Hmm.
But initially, right, like they came in pretty low, but in the end of the conversation, we were just going so back and forth. And I think I think what's also important to note down is having other companies that you're talking to as well. Because I had other opportunities that were in the pipeline and they didn't want to lose out on me just because of uh, a salary number that they didn't meet. And so because I had some other companies I was talking to, in the end, after some conversations, they just came to me like, hey, look, all right, what's the number that would make you happy and pull the trigger with us rather than some other company. And so that's where, that was a telltale sign in. So that's where I, gave my number, and then it was kind of rest was history.
Oh man. Did you also ask them like what would make them happy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of figuring out what they were looking for within the role, just understanding what was part of the job description, what I would be doing. I was just getting a lot of information from them, right? And what stage the company was at, where it was going, what they're looking for, how big the team they're looking to grow, and everything, right? And then after figuring out what the role kind of entailed, that's where I was able to kind of give a market number based off of what the expectations of the role was. Because right now, I think there's a lot of companies, yeah, they are undercutting the market when it comes to salary, just because, yeah, I mean, it's an employer's market, right? And so there's so many good candidates out there. But when luckily, if you are that standout candidate, you are able to negotiate numbers in that meet your criteria rather than just the companies.
How does it how does it feel right now to basically like be out of the job hunt and not have to worry about this going into spring?
It feels good. Yeah, yeah. I think I mean, being in this market, obviously in this economy, right, there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of risk, but I think that's what you kind of have to move forward with. Um, but it feels good. I think getting a job in this market, it's exciting. You're right. It's definitely possible. Like companies are definitely hiring.
Mhm.
It's just very different than what it was last year, right? The approach, the conversations, and everything is just a lot more different. Uh, and so I think that's something to like look out for.
Oh man. Holy moly. Holy moly. Okay, so what's next, man? What words of wisdom can you impart on the other people that are going through the struggle right now, feeling like it's hopeless?
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, it really just comes down honestly to just like never giving up. And like when it comes to recruiting and product management, I will always follow the numbers, right? I will always put in the effort and play the game. So, interviews, recruit applications, all that stuff, that's just baseline. And then refining your interview skills, mocking. But in the end, in at the end of the day, it really, really just comes down to figuring out what the main problem the company is looking to solve, and then being that person to solve that problem. I know it sounds like super high level, but if you're able to do that, if you're able to, you know, get that information out from the recruiter or the hiring manager, and pinpoint your skills to that, I think you'll stand out. And also just referral, right? I think networking as much as possible is just the way to go. I think this time around, I all the interviews that I've done were all through base networking, and it was none of them were. I never applied to a job. Yeah,
I
directly.
think the thing about like, because you did this job hunt with us before, and something that I said, it seems like it kind of stuck with you a little bit is don't like don't dig your wall. I think I told you this, like don't dig your wall when you're thirsty, is that like don't start networking when you need a job. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
all that networking stuff needs to be done before you need the job. So
Yes.
like when you actually need it, then you can go out there and basically pull the trigger, right? Because usually when you need a job, it's like when everybody else needs a job
Correct.
too. Uh,
Yeah.
it's amazing that like it's crazy how the universe works, but when you need the job, that's when other people, you'll whatever week that is, you'll find yourself like, oh man, and like this company did a layoff and this company like everybody's like coming out. So the people that are going to get to the head of the line has already been putting out that work throughout the entire year. So
Exactly.
we did this testimonial for you, I think last year around the same
Yeah.
time.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
because I like, and I'm really happy that like, this time around, like, um, things that people should always have is not looking at the job hunt in a transactional manner versus more like, you're developing relationships. Uh,
Yes.
so
Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, I mean to your point exactly. Even with this one, this was an opportunity that actually came my way this time around back in November. I kept we actually like the interview process went well. They actually just ended up not moving forward, but I kept in touch with them, but they still really liked me. And we opened up the conversation back up in the beginning of the year, and that's how it happened. And so, networking, keeping in touch, keeping that relationship is so important. And I've done that with many of people I've worked with. And so that's a huge, yeah, I would say that's a huge thing when it comes to recruiting.
there you go, man. There you go. Let's go out there and let's get it. Let me know if you need anything else, dude. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Rich.